She sat behind a broken cargo crate, small arms wrapped tightly around her knees. Her name was Nia, but no one used it. They called her waste, scrap, or thing. Nia hadn't eaten real food in days. A half-rotten bread crust lay on the dirty floor. She stared at it like it was gold. But she didn't move. Last time she tried to grab food too early, they kicked her. Hard dot around her. The other aliens laughed, tall and strong. They wore armor, clean boots, glowing tech. Nia was different, short, skinny, with soft violet skin and glowing eyes that were always full of fear. Her race had designed her in a lab. She was a mix of two species, one tough, one space adapted. But something went wrong. She was weak. A failure. "Hey freak," one of the guards shouted. "Wanna eat? Crawl for it." The others burst into laughter. One of them tossed another dry crust at her, like she was an animal. It bounced off her shoulder and landed near her feet. Nia didn't move. "Go on," said another. "Lick the floor clean. Beg like a pet." Nia lowered her head. Her body shook from hunger. Her lips were cracked. But she didn't cry, not anymore. That stopped long ago. Then. The room fell silent. Heavy footsteps echoed through the hallway. A new figure entered the room. A human, tall, wearing battle gear, with a rifle slung on his back. His name tag read LT, Mark Riley. His eyes scanned the room. Cold, sharp. He saw everything. "What's going on here?" he asked, voice deep and calm. The aliens looked at each other, amused. "Nothing serious," one said. "Just playing with trash." Mark's eyes moved slowly and stopped on Nia. She was still curled up, but now watching him carefully. Her glowing eyes met his. Fear, shame, hunger. "She yours?" he asked. The alien grinned. "She's no one. Just a lab reject. Failed test subject. Not worth feeding." Mark said nothing. He walked toward Nia, slowly, quietly. The other aliens fell silent, confused. When he reached her, he knelt down. He opened his pocket and pulled out a sealed ration bar. Unwrapped it, broke it in half. Steam rose from it, warm. Fresh food. He held one half out to her. Nia stared. "Was it a trick?" "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe. Take it." She didn't move at first. Her hands were shaking. Then slowly, very slowly, she reached out and took the bar. It felt warm in her hand. She took a tiny bite. Her eyes widened. Her lips trembled. She hadn't tasted real food in weeks. Behind them, someone coughed. "Sir, she's just an alien. They don't belong in our unit." Mark didn't stand up. He looked back and said, "She's starving." And you all watched. One of the aliens stepped forward. "She's not your problem, human." Mark stood. Now straight, calm but cold. "She is now." He turned back to Nia. "What's your name?" She hesitated, whispered, Nia. "Okay, Nia, you're coming with me." The aliens laughed. "She's a freak. You'll regret it." Mark ignored them. He took off his jacket and gently placed it over Nia's shoulders. She looked up at him, confused. No one had ever done that for her. He reached down a hand. Nia didn't take it at first, but after a few seconds, she did. Her tiny fingers wrapped around his glove. Mark helped her stand. She was shaking, light, weak, but she was standing. He walked with her past the aliens. None stopped him. None dared. And as the door closed behind them, Nia looked back one last time. The aliens who used to laugh now looked nervous, like they had just lost something important. Asterisk. The human camp smelled like steel, smoke, and something Nia couldn't name. It was warm. Too warm, almost. Her body, used to cold storage rooms and harsh floors, didn't know how to feel here. The jacket Mark had given her still hung from her shoulders, too big, but safe. He guided her through the hallway without saying much. No one stopped them, but many stared. A few whispered. Why's he bringing that thing here? Did he lose a bet? Aliens don't belong in our sector. Nia kept her eyes down. She didn't want trouble. She just wanted to eat. And disappear. Mark opened a door to the mess hall. Bright lights. Tables, machines hissing out hot trays. The smell hit her first. It smelled like hope. He handed her a plate. Take whatever you want. She didn't move. He pointed again. Go ahead. No one will stop you. Still, she froze. The last time she tried to take food, they shocked her hands. Blood had dripped on the floor. They made her clean it with her own shirt. Mark noticed her shaking. He stepped forward, took a plate himself, and filled it with soft bread, soup, and something she didn't know the name of. He sat at a quiet table, patted the chair beside him. She slowly followed. He placed the plate in front of her. Nia stared at the food for a full minute. Then, with slow hands, she picked up the bread, sniffed it, and took a bite. The warmth hit her tongue like fire. Tears filled her eyes, but she blinked them back. She didn't want to cry in front of humans. Mark watched her silently. First real meal in a while? He asked. She nodded, chewing slowly, as if afraid it might vanish. I've seen how they treated you, he said. Why didn't you fight back? Nia's voice was barely a whisper. Fighting gets you hurt. Mark leaned back in his chair. That's true, but sometimes not. Fighting gets you erased. She didn't respond. She just ate, bit by bit, sip by sip. Her hands steadied. The door opened behind them. Another soldier entered, Sergeant Lewis, tall, dark beard, eyes like a hawk. He walked up to their table. Lieutenant, we need to talk. Now Mark stood slowly. Say what you need to say here. Lewis glanced at Nia. That thing doesn't belong here. She has a name, Mark said calmly. Nia. Lewis crossed his arms. She's one of them. They're tech. They're mess. If Command finds out you brought her into human space, I'll take full responsibility. Even if it costs you your post? Mark didn't flinch. Yes. Nia looked between them, confused. Why would he risk anything for her? She wasn't worth it. She was just failed. Broken. Not even her creators wanted her. After Lewis left, Mark returned to the table and spoke gently. You'll sleep in the extra medbay tonight. Clean sheets, no alarms, no kicks. Just sleep. Nia stared at him. Why are you doing this? He shrugged. Because someone should have done it a long time ago. That night, as she lay on a real bed under a real blanket, her fingers clutching a pillow that smelled like laundry, Nia didn't cry. Not this time. She just whispered to the ceiling, voice shaking. Please don't take this away from me. Outside the room, Mark stood guard, not because he was ordered to, but because for the first time in her life, someone cared if she slept safe. Nia hadn't had a nightmare in 2 nights. That alone was a miracle, but peace doesn't last long. Not for her. It started with a strange sound. Click, click, click. The motion sensors outside the medbay flickered, then failed. Lights dimmed, monitors glitched. Even the air vents went quiet. Nia sat up in bed, heart pounding. Something felt wrong. She slid off the bed and pressed her ear to the metal wall. Silence. Too much silence. Then a whisper in her old language. Found her. Her breath caught in her throat. Not again. She backed away from the wall. The medbay door creaked, locked but weak. She ran to the corner and crouched behind the storage bin. A shadow moved past the frosted glass, then a hand, 3 fingers. Long claws. Alien. Them. Suddenly bang. The door burst open. 2 alien guards entered in black armor, no emblems. Not regular soldiers, reclaimers, trained to retrieve lost assets. And Nia was their property. There she is, one hissed. She won't fight. She never does, said the other. Nia's mind screamed. Her body froze. She couldn't run. Couldn't scream. Could only shake. One stepped forward, grinning under his mask. Then boom! The sound of a rifle tore through the air. One guard dropped instantly, a smoking hole in his chest. The other turned just in time to see Lieutenant Mark Riley at the door. Weapon raised, eyes full of fire. "You touched the wrong girl, the last." Alien lunged, but Mark shot again, clean and fast. Nia didn't move. Mark rushed to her, knelt, gently grabbing her shoulders. "You okay?" She blinked, still frozen. He checked her arms, her face no wounds. "Just shock." He pulled her into his chest. "I'm here. They're gone." She gripped his vest like it was the only thing keeping her alive. That night, the base went into lockdown. Human security swarmed the area, but the damage was done. They had come for her, and they would come again. Later that night, Mark stood in the commander's office, face hard. "You broke protocol," said Commander Hawley. "You fired on alien." "Military." "They weren't military. They didn't wear insignia. They're still allies. They broke into our base and tried to kidnap a child." "She's not human, Mark." He leaned forward. "She's not a threat either. She's a girl who's been tortured, starved, and dumped like trash. And now she's under my protection." The commander sighed. "And if they send more next time?" Mark didn't blink. "Then we'll be ready." In her room, Nia sat on her bed, knees to her chest. She wasn't crying, she was remembering. The cold cell they kept her in as a child, the needles, the fake voices saying, "We're doing this for science." Her fingers tightened around Mark's jacket. She had almost lost this new world, but not again, never again. Nia sat under the medbay's soft lights, her hands shaking as she stared at the scanner. It wasn't fear this time. It was something colder. Memory. The kind she tried to bury, but now it was all coming back. The human medic, Dr. Karen Lee, was gentle, careful. Her gloved hands never rushed, never pushed. "You're doing great," she said with a soft smile. "Just a few more scans." Nia nodded, but her chest was tight. Machine hummed, then beeped. Dr. Lee's eyes narrowed. That's when things started getting strange. "Lieutenant," she called over her shoulder. Mark walked in, serious as always. "Something wrong?" he asked. She turned the screen toward him. The scan showed a strange image. Nia's body was laced with thin, thread-like implants wrapped around her bones, her organs, even her brain. "That's not normal tech," Karen said. "Some of this isn't even organic. It's adaptive." "What does that mean?" Mark asked. Karen looked at him. "They didn't just experiment on her. They built her." Flashback inside Nia's memory. White lights, cold table, voices behind glass. Test 7 failed. She doesn't adapt fast enough. Shut it down. Pain, screaming, metal in her skin. Reset her brain. Try again tomorrow. Nia's body jolted back to the present. She gasped. Mark was already beside her. "What is it?" She held her head. "They put something in me. Something alive." He knelt. "Alive?" "They called it phase core. It grows inside, changes you, hurts you." Mark and Dr. Lee exchanged looks. "Did they ever say why?" he asked. "They wanted a soldier," Nia whispered. "Not a girl." Later that night, Mark stood on the base balcony, staring at the stars. He clenched his fists. Nia wasn't just rejected. She was manufactured to survive in space, resist radiation, adapt to different gravity levels. Her body had been torn apart and rebuilt again and again, and she remembered every piece of it. Back in the lab, Karen ran another test. This time, deeper. Suddenly, alerts flashed red on the screen. "Mark, get back in here." He rushed in. "What happened?" She pointed at the monitor. "Her implant, it's waking up." Nia's eyes rolled back. Her skin glowed faintly blue. Her chest rose sharply as if gasping for air. Karen shouted, "It's trying to sync with something. It's not just biotech, it's a signal receiver." "A receiver for what?" Mark demanded. "I don't know, but something Out there is listening. Later, in quiet Nye, a sat wrapped in a blanket, sipping warm tea. Her body had calmed. But her mind hadn't. Mark sat across from her. You're not a mistake, Nia. She looked down. I'm not real. He leaned in. You're more real than any of them. You survived. I didn't want to be a weapon. You don't have to be. She met his eyes. Then what am I? He smiled faintly. Maybe the one who ends their game. 3 days had passed. Nia was stronger now. She walked steadier, ate full meals, even smiled once when a soldier let her press a button that launched a drone. But peace is just the space between storms. And the storm was coming. It started with a message, encrypted. Mark received it at 3 a.m. from Alien High Council Subject. Reclamation demand return biological unit number 741N, code Nia, within 48 Earth hours. She contains proprietary technology belonging to our state. Refusal to comply will be treated as theft of military property. No further warnings. Mark read it twice. His jaw clenched. They didn't ask for Nia back because they cared. They wanted her now because she was working. At the command briefing, Commander Howley looked tired. They say she's part of an unfinished weapons project. She's a child, Mark said. She's also alien tech. If they press this, Earth may be forced to hand her over. Mark slammed his palm on the table. She's not a crate of stolen gear. She's a girl. A quiet voice came from the doorway. I'm right here. Everyone turned. Nia stood there. Her hair was tied back. She looked calm. But her hands were trembling. If they want me back, she said, maybe they should ask me. The room went silent. Outside, in the barracks, soldiers whispered as she walked past. That's her? She's the one with the implants? I heard she can breathe in space. Shouldn't we be scared of her? Mark heard every word. So did Nia, but she kept her head high. They fear you now, Mark said gently. She gave a weak smile. Good. That night, Mark was called urgently to the security station. The cameras had picked up something strange. Above the human base, hidden behind a nearby moon, hovered a cloaked alien ship. No ID, no signals, no lights. Just watching. Waiting. Kareen, the medic, muttered, They're not here to talk. They're here to grab. Mark nodded. Then we won't give them the chance. But something unexpected happened. The ship didn't fire, didn't land. Instead, it broadcasted one message, straight to NIA. In her old language. Phase core now stable. Retrieval team not needed. Unit can be activated remotely. The blood drained from Kareen's face. Oh no. Mark leaned in. What does that mean? It means they don't have to take her back. He turned to Nia. She stood frozen, then collapsed. In her mind, darkness. Static, a voice calling her. Nia, obey, return to us. Flashes of past experiments, electrodes, commands, screams. Nia, follow. But another voice pushed back. Mark's voice. You're not theirs. You get to choose now. You're free. Nia's eyes shot open. She gasped, sweat dripping down her face. I heard them, she whispered. Inside my head. Mark crouched beside her. Can you fight it? I don't know. But you'll try? She nodded slowly. Yes. He smiled. Then we'll fight too. Nia stood at the edge of the hangar bay. Below her, the earth glowed blue, green, peaceful. Behind her, the alien ship waited. Its ramp open. Lights cold, silent. They hadn't sent guards this time. They didn't need to. Because this time, they weren't trying to take her. They were offering her a deal. Earlier that day. The alien high envoy arrived through diplomatic channel, dressed in silver. Voice smooth. No emotion. We do not wish conflict, he told the humans. We simply request what belongs to us. Mark stood beside Nia. She belongs to no one. She is not a girl, the envoy said. She is a system. A weapon. A project designed by us. We offer her comfort, safety, education, in return for her cooperation. Nia looked up. And if I say no? The envoy didn't blink. You won't. Mark turned to her, whispering, You don't owe them anything. But this has to be your choice. Double quotes, now. At the edge of the bay, she stared at the alien ship. She remembered the cold rooms, the pain, the tests, but she also remembered something else. A warm bed. Laughter. Soup, too hot to sip. Mark's voice calling her name. Not a number. The ship beeped once. A calm voice said, Boarding ramp will close in 60 seconds. Mark stood quietly behind her, not stopping her, not begging her, just waiting. Her body was built to obey them. Her mind was still her own. Her legs began to move. 1 step, 2, 3. Toward the ramp. Her breath quickened. Was she really going? Back, to safety, to silence, to being just a thing. She reached the edge of the ramp and stopped. A voice echoed in her head. Unit number 741N. Return to command. Emotions are errors. Orders are priority. She turned back. Mark was still there. Still waiting. No anger. No pressure. Just belief. You don't owe them anything. Nia clenched her fist. Her knees buckled. Her skin flickered faint blue like before. She screamed through her teeth. I am not a unit. The ramp lights flickered. She turned and ran. Back to Mark. Straight into his arms. He caught her, held her tight. She buried her face into his chest. I'm not going with them, she whispered. He smiled. I never doubted you. Later. Commander. Holly looked over the report. So, she refused the recall. You understand the danger? Mark nodded. They'll come harder next time. And if they send ships? We'll be ready. He looked at Nia standing beside Mark. She wore her own custom vest now, human-made, a small patch on her chest. Nia, nitrogen monoxide longer property. The commander sighed. Then I hope she's worth the fight. Nia looked him in the eyes. I hope they're ready to lose. The room fell quiet as the doors opened. Every soldier in the base stood at attention. And at the center, Nia walked in. No longer barefoot, no longer shaking. She wore a black and gray human uniform, sleeves rolled just enough to show the scars. On her arms, not to hide them, but to own them. On her chest, a silver patch that simply said, NIA unit nitrogen monoxide longer. The medal ceremony had begun. 1 week earlier. The alien empire had made their final move. A fleet entered orbit, not to negotiate, but to take her by force. They sent ships, drones, coded commands, anything to control her again. But something had changed. Nia wasn't running anymore. She stood on the front line beside Mark, Karen Lewis, and the same soldiers who once stared at her with doubt. This time, she gave orders. EMP net here. Drone wall east side. I can disable their signal, but you have to trust me. They did. And when the aliens tried to activate her implant remotely, she overrode it. Not with strength, not with weapons, but with will. I'm not yours, she said into the open channel. I never was. The implants in her body burned, then died. She collapsed, but she woke up free. Really free. Back to the present. Commander Holly pinned the medal to her chest himself. For bravery under fire, for loyalty beyond species, for reminding us what humanity truly means. Applause shook the room, but Nia's eyes weren't on the crowd. They were on one person. Mark. He smiled at her from the front row, arms crossed. She walked straight to him. After the ceremony, held out something small. His old military jacket, the one he gave her that first night. I think this still belongs to you, she said. He shook his head. No, you earned it. She wrapped it around her shoulders anyway, felt safe again. Later, outside the base, Nia sat on the rooftop, looking at the stars. Mark joined her. Big day, he said. I didn't think I'd live this long, she replied. He chuckled. That makes two of us. Silence followed, not heavy, not awkward. Just peaceful. Then Nia asked, "Do you think I'll ever be normal?" Mark looked up at the sky. "Normal's overrated." She smiled, a real one, not weak. Not broken. Just hers.